I don't know whether you were commissioned or I think you were commissioned to paint two large pieces for TIRR.
Yeah.
And are they still in the entryway?
As far as I know, unless if they've either been stolen or just torn down.
So for people that aren't familiar with TIRR, TIRR treats people with catastrophic injuries, including a lot of people with paralysis. And so they commissioned Jared to paint two pieces for the entryway to TIRR. So tell us, and the names of those two pieces, by the way, I think are super cool. So tell us about those pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting back to, there's just some things that people like. They're easy to hang for the most part, and I don't think easy, and that's not quite fair. But flowers and landscapes, one of those things that's very different than something that because you have to answer for what you're hanging on the wall, right?
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. So as I'm painting, I really, I'm looking at flowers now, which I didn't think I would be something I was looking at, but it's like, wow, it's crazy. They're amazing. There's a lot to them. They're complicated. And I kind of landed on orchids and thought they were incredible. They seem very simple. The more you study them, it's like, geez, they're really, really complicated. And then the more I looked at them, the more they started looking like vertebrae in your back and neck. So I painted two really long, they're like 12 feet long by 3 or 4 feet high. And they're two really long white orchids. And one of them is kind of going into the hospital, and it's a little more haggard, some busted up stuff. And that's a little bit like it felt like you're going into this hospital. It's not someplace you ever want to have to go, but thank God it's there when you need it. And, that's how I was. I was pretty beat up when I went in. I came out at least medically stable and knowing how to live. I don't know if I could do it, but you at least have the knowledge, right? And so the one going out is a lot smoother, a lot cleaner, and a lot more put together. But the names of them are C4 and C5, which means in the vertebrae, you've got your cervical, and then you've got
thoracic
and lumbar, right?
Yep.
So that's where your, C7 and up. C7 is the first one you see on your back. Everyone's got that little bump. If you're C7 and up, that's the club. That's the like, man, you've really done some bad shit if you break those or mess those up.
Yeah.
And I was C4 or 5. And so those, the one C4, the other C5.
And I just think it's absolutely beautiful that people that are going through the same or very similar things that you went through or that go through TIRR get to see two paintings, frankly huge paintings by an alumnus of TIRR. And the way that where did you come up with the idea of painting a more broken orchid, more broken flower on the left, and then a more developed, more mature flower on the right? Like where did you get that idea?
I think it gets back to advertising. When, if you will, think about that, the art and commerce, like usually there's some idea with a great ad, with a great campaign, all those things. There's an idea, there's a concept there for the ones that are really good. And that to me was like what and how people were with TIRR. The idea you go in pretty broken up, you come out much better. And that's in its simplest form. And so that's kind of where I landed on that idea and where I landed with that image as far as the flowers. And it's like, well, they look like vertebrae. And so that was kind of how they helped me. So that's how I got there.